What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Opera Anna. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Anna. I am an opera singer and I am here to opera up your life. Today we are looking at the one, the only Toreador from Bizet's Carmen, sung by the only singer who looks good on Sesame Street, Samuel Ramey. Don't worry, we'll get back to that. We have previously looked at the Aria Habanera sung by Carmen on this channel. So if you haven't seen that, make sure to do that, please, because that is like the epitome of this opera. And let's get swept off our feet, shall we? So, where to start? Normally, these arias come from one of the main characters in an opera. But Escamillo can hardly be called a main character in the story of Carmen. Right? He comes in around the hour-ish mark. Don Jose and Carmen have already met. Don Jose has been to and subsequently been released from prison. And suddenly we get this whirlwind of new music that we haven't heard before. And quite literally, it sweeps us off our feet, introducing us to the Toreador. Really, I could just look at this aria and not worry about the bigger context. But this is Opera Anna. And I love me some juicy context. So we're gonna back up. Carmen, an opera comique written by Georges Bizet, was one of Bizet's last works to be performed before he died. And unfortunately, it was yet another work of his that failed to meet its mark, at least when he was alive.
Oh my God, he's not even appreciated in his own time.
It did exceptionally poorly in Paris, where critics claimed that it had no melody, a criticism that today seems completely ridiculous given that its popularity and earworm-worthy melodies mean that even the most opera-illiterate people have heard at least two of these melodies. After Bizet died, however, it premiered in Vienna, where it was an instant success, and the opera quickly spread throughout Europe. No wonder all these composers wanted to go to Vienna. I mean, like, clearly they knew what they were listening to. They had those good ears, you know what I'm saying? All right. Its instant success in Vienna maybe had something to do with the way that femininity and the heroine in the opera were presented, and also why it has such staying power. It is not going to fall out of the standard repertoire anytime soon because, girl, you can find it on any season brochure. I'm sure if I picked like 5 random theaters, it would be on like at least 3 of their seasons. I'm putting my money on that. I'm going for it. So, Carmen is one of the most beloved girls in this town, in Sevilla. And one day her eye falls on the unassuming and seemingly unwilling Don Jose. Don Jose is a brigadier in the regiment stationed here, regiment group something. And after Carmen sings the habanera and for all intents and purposes basically puts a bullseye on Don Jose's heart, there's a kind of kerfuffle in the cigarette factory and Carmen is arrested. And wouldn't you know, the one officer, the single lone officer set to look after her is Don Jose. Long story short, as she's being held, she sings her second really famous aria about a bar on the ramparts of Sevilla and seduces Don Jose. They confess their love to each other, and Carmen makes a plan to create a distraction so that Don Jose can let her escape. Everything goes perfectly to plan, except that Don Jose gets arrested for having let her escape, and now 2 months later, in Act 2, we have entered Lilas Pastia's place. We find Carmen hanging around after a night of drinking, and she hears that Don Jose has been released. She must know that he will come to find her, but just as the officers are being sort of forced out of the bar, who should enter but the Toreador? I still can't tell if they're saying Escamillo or Escamillo. Okay, it takes him a long time to enter. He's got a lot of fans, and he can only move so quickly. But it is worth noting that everyone seems to know who he is. So he's probably a pretty good toreador, if you call torturing and killing innocent animals to be good at something. But, okay. So note this music and what we're about to get. Okay, hard left turn. Triangle guy getting his money's worth for sure. I know, I'm the worst. I'm sorry. Intro music that is iconic as they come. And like I said, a complete 180 from what was playing before. Funny how you can already see the parallels between this aria of Escamillo and the habanera aria that Carmen entered with. They are both attention seekers. They are both performers at their core. And the entrance arias that they present are a way of showing the world how they want to be viewed. It's just facts, okay? Oof. Nice. Okay. What a fun... I mean, this melody, like I said, this melody is just iconic and it's so good. And Samuel Ramey, just like a bull out of the starting gate, horse out of the starting gate, bull out of the starting gate, just leaves no crumbs. No crumbs. It is iconic. And his voice, I love that his voice, I'm going to say it multiple times, his voice is just so well calibrated throughout all the registers. Like, he doesn't disappear in the depth, which is good because he's a bass. So... Wait, did he just jump off the table? Not bad. Not bad. I'll take that. I just want to start by saying that this aria is pure pleasure. It's opera as a spectacle, and that's it. There's a bit of wordplay going on at the end of the aria that makes it sort of intellectual, but this aria is just Escamillo showing off. Like, let's be real. We see it already with how he has this performance, more or less. It's just him as a toreador, but then explaining how to be a toreador. We start off with the words, "Your toast, I can return to you," because everyone's toasting him, buying him drinks probably. Because bullfighters can hear each other and they have fights for fun. If you couldn't tell already, I don't love bullfighting. Not a huge fan. So I don't really know how I'm going to feel about the rest of this.
You just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine.
Anyway, he has a ton of text, which is much harder to follow even while staring at the text, because Bizet places it kind of really strangely. And it might be why I was never actually able to sing along or even figure out what he's trying to say. This last line was set kind of well, though, because he says the spectators are losing their heads. The spectators are screaming loudly. And on that last high note, he's got the calling out, the verb calling out. So, okay, I take it back. But other than that, it's set really weirdly. So obviously bullfighting is a huge thing for the Spanish culture, and specifically Sevilla, where Carmen takes place. And I think one of the most interesting things to listen to during this aria, because let's be honest, it repeats a lot, is the interaction between the voice and the orchestra. These swells in the strings, and when he says "Allons en garde," they frantically have this like chromatic sequence up, which is a really cool build up. I think it'll come around again, so don't worry. Obviously, the director and the singer, of course, have a really important theatrical part to play in this aria. You can't just park and bark as a singer and expect this piece to come across. And Samuel Ramey is living his best life. I love it. The shawl as a what's it called? Someone tell me what it's called in the comments. I don't know. If you don't know this melody, what rock are you living under? Honestly. Ooh. I love as well that he gets this great legato out of the sound. You know, everyone knows this piece and everyone can sing along, and you can sort of like throw it away and not want to approach it in a musical sense. But Samuel Ramey does not fall into that trap at all. In fact, he even plays with it. Whenever he comes back to Allons en garde, he chooses both times to speak it much more. I don't actually know if it's written like that. Oh wait, let's find out. It is written out to sing it, I mean. But he chooses not to do that fully. And I think that's kind of, a cool choice, because it's like really how you would probably do it in the arena or whatever. Thank you very much. This is where the aria, I think it's really interesting, because the mood suddenly changes drastically. I'm not talking about bullfighters losing their heads or spectators, whatever. This whole time he's been describing like what's going on in the arena, like people shouting and pushing, and there's tons of noise and like getting angry. It's the day of courage. But now what he said is Toreador en garde, et songe bien, oui, songe en combattant, quand œil noir te regarde, et que l'amour t'attend. A black eye could be the eye of the bull. Obviously, they're always very much aware of where that bull is, but also the black eye of whoever's in the stands being like, okay, Toreador. I'm gonna hit that up later. Slide in his DMs. Am I reading too much into it? I don't know, but I don't think so, because just look at the way Carmen is sitting there. The chorus members in the back, like. Yeah, also because at this part, he literally walks over to a woman. So, like, if the black eye is not of a woman, then, like, this is a really dumb aria. So, not to forget what happens later. We all know that Carmen likes to flip between men. And if you don't know what happens, I'm going to spoil it for you. She gets with Escamillo. No one could have predicted that. Oh my goodness. Look how much fun he's having. And here we go, back to the beginning music. Look at him go. Samuel Ramey showing us all how it's done. But it occurs to me, I have seen this dance somewhere.
I love the most. Hell helps me go. Low, 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 low.
Even on Sesame Street, he shows off how amazing his voice is. God damn it. It is so consistent from top to bottom, which is A, the goal, and B, that he can reach those high notes without covering them so much in the top. And what I mean by that is that they change the vowel so that it's not too spread. While that is safer and like sometimes technically correct, I feel that it really makes the vowel suffer, and I feel that it's kind of abused, if that makes sense. Obviously, I'm not a technical expert, so I have no idea what's happening in a male voice, but I just love his consistently clear vowels. That's what I'm trying to say.
Silence, à que se passe-t-il? Il glisse à la jambe, il glisse à la jambe, le taureau s'élance au bord du jour.
I feel like So I feel like the setting of this verse makes more sense. And it can be hard to keep a strophic aria, because that's what this is. He's literally repeating the melody. Telling of a story that no one can see and half the audience doesn't know what you're talking about is just really hard to understand because it's not relatable in that way. You just have to know how a bullfight works. Like, we get really specific vocabulary and jargon. So the strange way that this text is set half the time makes me wonder if Bizet had the music already written and then fit the words onto the music. But I couldn't find evidence of that anywhere. Although, since we know he basically took the melody for Habanera from a pre-existing song that he hadn't even written, I wouldn't put it past the guy. Not that that's bad. I mean, like, I couldn't write it even if I knew the melody already. Like, he had to orchestrate it and put different words to it and make it vocally make sense. But still. Gorgeous high note once again. Okay. I've seen this multiple times, obviously. And I still don't really know what he's trying to do here. I just don't really get it. And it's I've got alarm bells going off in my head that a director made him do that. I have a theory, though, because he's describing how the picadors are first engaging with the bull as it comes out of the toril, the stall where it's been kept for like 2 days without being able to see daylight. Once again, why do we endorse this? But okay. So what they do before the Toreador even gets involved is drive spears into its neck, into this like really fleshy, like vulnerable part in the back of its neck, so that it continuously gets weaker and weaker and weaker. And the matador, or the Toreador in this case, will wield the final blow. So the only thing I can guess is that he's mimicking the movement of those spears of the banderillas as they enter into the bull's neck. So like, because I think they're on horseback as well, so they like throw it or like get really close. Honestly, I really kind of hate this subject matter. It's a good thing this melody and this music is so gorgeous and fun, because otherwise, like, it has no redeeming qualities. Listen to that orchestra. See, it's exactly the same. Okay, see, definitely that would be him as the matador putting in the final blow. And we're back to the original, to the like super famous melody. Love it. Love it. Gorgeous phrasing. Voice is gorgeous. I love him. What's nice is that he finds this great balance between, you know, acting it out, playing with the women, the women folk, and just standing still. It can be really, really powerful and really hard to just stand still and sing, because we're always looking for something to do. And it's gotten worse because directors are always asking you to do something. And it can help free up the voice. That's true, but it's not always necessary. Fun fact, Toreador is not a French word. In fact, it's not even a Spanish word. It's actually completely made up, because Bizet found that the word for bull, toro, and the word for to fight bulls, torear, didn't fit at all. And also matador didn't fit either. Matador, matador. Doesn't work. So he made up the word toreador. And nobody knows this. I didn't know this. I literally was just listening to the Tour de France, and they were talking about bullfights. And the guy literally says, yeah, because the toreador has to do this. We need to set the record straight, people. Matadors, not toreadors. I'm shocked. Oh my God!
I'm fine!
Let's finish this up. We gotta keep going. Look at her. Oh my god. Just a pure shock on her face. Also, Agnes Balza is just, first of all, her voice. Secondly, her acting is so, it's not camp, but like over the top, but like in a really fun way. I don't know. I think she's great. But anyway, is Carmen getting a taste of her own medicine? I feel like this is exactly what she did to Don Jose. No? Like he was sitting there minding his own business, like polishing his shoes or something. I don't even remember what he was doing. And she just like shows up next to him. And that's exactly what happens. He's just like there. She's not really paying attention. And it doesn't seem like she's, you know, pretending to be indifferent because she wants to be like hard to get. She is like surprised that he's there. Like, what was that reaction? She can't be surprised that he's there, right? Like, or like noticed her. She gets noticed all the time. Makes no sense. Everybody. Toreador, Toreador. The choir might be the best part of this. Oh, didn't love that. In case we needed any more convincing that this aria is actually just about love. Oh, I wish she gotten closer. I feel like they... Oh. Back when opera courses actually sounded good. But I feel like, okay, what was that? That was such a missed chance by the director. Like, they could have gotten so much closer and, like, built that tension. L'amor toreador. I should be a director. So I think we can all agree that Samuel Raimi has an amazing voice and does a phenomenal job as the Toreador. It seems to me that Carmen and Escamillo are cut from the same marble or tree or wood or whatever the saying is. Like, I feel like if Carmen, spoiler alert, if Carmen didn't get stabbed by Don Jose at the end, her and Escamillo would have been a really good match. Even if that means that they probably would break up mutually after 3 months and be fine with it. Who knows? So now you know where the earworm of all earworms comes from. Votre toast, or the Toreador song. And next time you go to see it, you can annoy all your friends by informing them that the Toreador isn't an actual French word or a Spanish word. Be that person. It's okay. Tell them I said it's okay. Thank you so much for joining me. Let me know what you thought of Votre toast, sung by Samuel Raimi. Subscribe to the channel. Follow me on Instagram at opera.anna, and I will see you in the next one. Addio.
Addio, addio, speranza ed anima. Addio.